Hello, I'm John and welcome to John's Box, my YouTube channel, and to a special edition of Politics John, in which I look at the voting trends and try to, or attempt to, estimate who will be in government, which party will be in government at a future general election. That's what I've been doing in my previous videos. The last one goes back, I think, to after the May local elections. I'm going to put this aside for now, because what I'm going to do today in this video is to predict the results of the next general elections in terms of the numbers of seats attained, just as I've been doing under the first past the post system. But I'm going to guesstimate with a capital G, and it's based on my own gut feeling, not really taking into consideration what the current opinion polls say. So I'm going to ignore all the trends. And just a little bit about myself, if you're new to this channel. I've been interested in statistics for a very, very long time. Also in UK politics, which I follow closely, but from a statistical point of view. So that's one of my sort of passions. I love numbers, percentages, etc., and digging into them. In this envelope, which I will open after the next general election, I will reveal to you who I think, what will be the number of seats per party as that guesstimation goes. And it's going to be quite different to what the current trends say. In a few examples, it certainly will be quite different. Yeah? By the way, please support my channel. I'm currently on 968 subscribers. I'd love to get to 1,000. And with your help, I think that I can do it. Yeah? So when I get back, what you're going to hear now is audio-visual account of my analysis with my voice, just to prove I'm not some AI guy. I'm the real thing. And when I finish the analysis per party, the state of the parties, then I'll reveal to you exactly the results in this envelope. Yep. So sit back and relax and have a listen to what I've got to say.
They say that a week is a long time in politics, but a lot can happen in 3 years, let alone in 1 week. Party leaders can change, social economic events can occur out of the blue, not only in the UK, but around the world, and this can also affect the state of the parties. So I'm going to analyse the state of the main parties right now, and then when you see my face again, I will present my results and put them in an envelope and open them again at the next, or just after the next general election. That's my promise to you. It's no easy task, but fun. Election results now are so unpredictable. Just take a look at what happened at the last General Assembly by-election results in Wales and Scotland, with Plaid and Labour respectively coming out as surprise winners. Weekly by-election results may also surprise us, though it must be said that the Lib Dems and Reform are currently gaining most of these seats. So now to analyse the state of the parties. Labour as the governing party first. As of late 2025, Labour's chances of winning the next general election in the UK look quite low. Recent polls and modelling for YouGov and electoral calculus consistently show Reform UK leading by a significant margin, with Labour projected to lose many seats. Expert forecasts give Labour only around a 15 to 20% chance of being the largest party, and an outright majority appears very unlikely. However, Labour could still recover some ground if economic conditions improve, public confidence returns, and rival parties falter before the election. And if they change their leader and start leaning a little bit more left and manage to convince their traditional electorate to go back to them, things can indeed change. What about the Conservatives, you may ask? Their chances look extremely slim. Current models give them only about 3% chance of being the largest party at the next election. Polling also shows them trailing behind both Reform UK and Labour, with projections often placing them far into third place. They would need to see what happens in the local elections in May 2026, and if they are catastrophic, then a change of leadership may well occur. The Conservatives would need to rebuild voter trust by presenting a clear, credible economic plan, distant themselves from internal divisions and past scandals, and redefine their identity in contrast to both Reform UK and Labour. There would also need to be a stronger grassroots campaigning and policies that resonate with middle income and swing voters on issues like housing, immigration, and public services. Now the Lib Dems. The Liberal Democrats' chances of winning outright are very slim, but they have a modest possibility of growing influence and becoming a kingmaker in a hung parliament. Current polls average around about 13 to 15% support, which translates into mid-dozen to low double-digit seat counts under many models. Their relative stability, while the major parties are in flux, gives them room to be pivotal in coalition talks or deal-making, even if they can't form a government themselves. Plus, they've got a rather charismatic leader in Ed David, who likes to stunt or two. Nobody knows their policies, however, apart from the fact that they hate Donald Trump and want to rejoin the EU. As for the Green Party, under new leader Zach Polanski's leadership, the Green Party of England and Wales has lifted its national polling to as high as 15%, a record level for the party. That makes them more of a credible force than before, especially in a hung parliament scenario. However, translating that polling surge into meaningful parliamentary gains remains a major challenge. The party currently holds only 4 MPs, and the first-past-the-post electoral system makes seat breakthroughs very difficult. So while Polanski's leadership gives them improved visibility and momentum, their chances of becoming a major winner at the next general election are still modest and dependent on a number of favourable factors. There's also Corbyn's Your Party. The newly formed Your Party faces very challenging prospects at the next UK general election. Its launch in 2025 has generated significant grassroots interest, including hundreds of thousands of sign-ups early on. However, as a new party, it lacks established organisational infrastructure, widespread electoral experience, and clear polling strength across constituencies. So, its ability to convert enthusiasm into seats remains highly uncertain. If it succeeds at all, it's more likely to act as a spoiler or niche player on the left, rather than a major contender for government, unless it can rapidly build local networks, solid candidate pipelines, and broaden its appeal beyond its initial core supporters. Let's now go to Wales and Plaid Cymru. Plaid Cymru are in a strong position in Wales ahead of the next general election. Recent polling puts them around 30% in Welsh-only contests, ahead of the Labour Party and nearly neck and neck with Reform UK in some polls. However, translating that into significant Westminster seat gains is more challenging. They stand only in Wales, limiting their national scope, and the first-past-the-post electoral system works against smaller regional parties. Thus, while their prospects for influence and growth are good, outright breakthrough remains unlikely. Having said that, they may already be the credible force to take over Wales from Labour, so it will be interesting how tactical voting works there in the first-past-the-post system. Also, a lot will depend on how they fare in next May's National Assembly elections. Over to Scotland now. The Scottish National Party currently faces challenging prospects at the next UK general election. On the other hand, the SNP still retains leading support in Scotland compared to most rivals, meaning they could maintain a significant presence if they stabilise internally and manage voter concerns about issues such as financing and leadership. Also, a lot will depend on how they fare in next May's National Assembly elections. Finally, a word or two about Northern Ireland, the region which is very often forgotten in all this. Here's a brief outlook for the major parties in Northern Ireland at the next general election in the UK. Sinn Féin, the Nationalists, look well positioned to retain or modestly expand its Westminster representation. It has become the largest Westminster party in Northern Ireland, and its campaign strategy is focused on consolidating its gains. However, you must remember that Sinn Féin MPs don't take their votes in Parliament. The Democratic Unionist Party faces headwinds. Its vote share has fallen, Unionist support is fragmented, with competition from parties like the traditional Unionist Voice, and it may struggle to hold all its seats. Smaller parties such as the Alliance Party of Northern Ireland and the Social Democratic Labour Party may hold onto their current seats, but large breakthroughs are unlikely unless there are major shifts. In short, expect continuity at the top with Sinn Féin ahead, pressure on unionist dominance, and a stable but crowded field for the smaller parties. So now back to me, your YouTube host.
So there you have it. I hope that's a fair analysis of the state of the parties. It's based on the situation today, but as I have already mentioned, a lot can happen, and that's why I'm going to put myself ahead to 2029 or earlier if a general election is called. Unlikely, of course. And here is my forecast based on my gut feeling. We'll see if I'm right. So, first of all, we'll start with the Speaker. They have currently one seat, and of course, this is the one I'm sure will be correct. So the Speaker will end up on one seat. I can't go wrong there. Now we'll go over to Northern Ireland. Here in Britain, on the island of Britain, we're not too interested in what's going on in Northern Ireland, but yes, as we've seen in the past, with Mrs May's government, the DUP there made up the difference, and she was able to rule for at least 2 years. I think it was 2 years, or maybe a little bit more. Again, there's 18 seats up for grabs, and probably it's likely that Sinn Féin will get the majority of those seats, perhaps 10. But the thing to bear in mind here is that they don't take up their seats in Parliament, so certainly they wouldn't be able to help any left-leaning, centre-left-leaning coalition. The DUP and others, I think, will be in the minority. I think 2 seats will go to independent candidates. Currently, there are 2 former Reform MPs sitting in the House. It's possible at least one will retain his seat, but let's say if it's not a former Reform candidate, it might be someone else. So I reckon that there'll be 2 independents in the House. Next is your party. Technically, they don't have any MPs yet. They haven't really established themselves. There are currently 6 members of Parliament with such leaning interests, particularly on Palestine. I think they'll increase to 10 seats, particularly in some areas with that sort of high population, Muslim population. They're likely to go up to 10 seats if they can get their act together, of course. Plaid, who did very well in the last by-election in Caerphilly, well, I think they can be in contention and end up on something like 18 seats. They've currently got 4, so there's certainly, if tactical voting is involved, certainly they can get their numbers up. They can quadruple their numbers to 18. Scottish Nationalists, who I'm sure will do better. At the moment, they're on 9 seats. So again, they can quadruple that, I feel. I don't think it'll be a landslide. Don't forget, they are ruling Scotland. Everything depends on how they get on in the Scottish Assembly, but my guesstimation is 34 seats. The Greens currently on 4. I think, particularly in some of the big cities and in some of the rural areas too, they can do very well on the centre-left vote, particularly given the fact they've got a very charismatic social ecologist now in place. They also, I think, can really improve their share of the vote and end up, let's say, on 34 seats. The Lib Dems, with their charismatic leader, too, a stuntsman, by the way, I think they can also improve their vote share and number of seats to 80, so mainly taking seats from the Conservatives. The Conservatives, I think they can hold on, particularly if they change their leader. They might appeal to certain groups. They're currently on 119 seats, or 120, maybe I'm wrong here. 95, I think they'll be ahead of the Lib Dems. With the right leader, if they readdress the problems that I mentioned earlier in the analysis, they can hold on to dear life. Labour will be the losers. I don't think, even with a change of leadership, I don't think they will recover much, not even in the next 3 years. So they'll be the official opposition, let's say, unless they're able to form a wide coalition. And I think Reform, currently on 5 seats, can get up to 224 seats in the next parliament. Things can go wrong as well. They're not infallible, and it could be some few events could dampen their chances in some areas. There could be a lot of tactical voting, for example, to stop Reform. In the past, it was to stop the Conservatives. Now, there's going to be a lot of it to stop Reform. I don't think they can get up to anywhere to form a majority government in their own right. Okay, then. So what's the likely outcome? I'll put those numbers up for you so that you can see them on the screen in order. The most likely outcome will be that Reform UK forms a government, either as a minority government relying on confidence and supply from smaller parties. Well, let's say the Conservatives here, maybe the Independents, maybe from Northern Ireland, or Labour could be able to form a wider coalition, but that is almost impossible on these numbers. Yeah. So Parliament would be hung if no coalition forms immediately. Then there would be another general election before long, and of course I will open the envelope on the day after the general election to see how well I predicted the results. I'll be back again after the May local elections to look at the real forecasts, not any guesstimation. That will be after the May 2025 election. For Politics John, meanwhile, there's a lot of videos on my channel on other items and other social topics that may be of interest. I'm going to seal this envelope now, and that's it. I won't open it for a couple of years, probably. That's all for Politics John. I'll be back again in some time to come, as I mentioned, and for another video shortly on John's Box. Thanks again, and bye for now.